Where's my drink? Where's my drink? Mmm, mmm. Oh my god. That tastes like Bianca Belair without the ponytail. Mmm, mmm. Sweet. Good lord. Huh. What's this video about? Look at Bret Hart. Look at the disdain. Look look at the way he looks at Eric Bischoff. Bischoff. You remember when Goldust had got his genitals electrocuted, and then he had Tourette's for like 3 weeks on Raw? Bischoff. Bret Hart, someone who's been miserable their whole. I guess maybe Bret being miserable probably started around '92. I'd say so. The bitterness of Bret the Hitman Hart. Mr. Hitman, it's Bulldog. I'm on the crack. And look at the way he's looking at Bischoff. Bischoff overpaid this Canadian maple leaf syrup sucking mother. He overpaid him, and look at the way he stares at him. Who the hell told Bischoff to take his shirt off? When you think of Bret Hart's WCW career, it was nothing to write home about, nothing memorable. It was a waste. It was a waste. And I blame Eric Bischoff for the way Bret Hart's WCW run turned out. He's the man in charge. And I probably blame Hogan. But if Hogan, and I just did, on this series of Bret Hart's Bitterness, if you go to episode 1, it's about Hulk Hogan. And, it's been alleged that Hogan might have been in Bischoff's ear, burying Bret Hart and things like that. But you have to understand, Bret Hart used to go off on Hogan. Before he went to WCW, Bret Hart would be very critical of Hulk Hogan in interviews and in his Calgary Sun column. I want to say he had the Sun column in 95, I want to say. If he wasn't then, later on he certainly was. He was very critical of Hulk Hogan. So if you go to Hogan's domain, which is WCW, you think you're going to come here and get a push? No, I'm going to shut you down. You talk bad about me, so I'm going to return that by making you a mid-carder. You did make me a mid-carder, Hogan. Hogan, you stinking hyena. You hyena. You're a snake in the grass. I'm in the WCW. Eric Bischoff, you turn a blind eye to it. Ray Charles, you turn a blind eye to it. Hit the like button, man. Hit the like button. Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, you turn a blind eye to it. Helen Keller, you turned a blind eye to it. Munchie B. You think Bret Hart knows who Munchie B is? This is the wrong channel. You turn a blind eye. Helen Keller, you turned a blind eye. Bret Hart, the eye expert. Bret Hart's bitterness has no end, man. I love. Let me make this clear. I love Bret Hart. He's a gentleman, always well spoken. You could tell he's a thoughtful individual. He always wanted to do the right thing, promote the right thing. But he is a whiner, and he is a complainer. And when I say he's a whiner and complainer, I'm not saying what he's complaining about is wrong. What I'm saying is it's 30 years. Get over it. If you interview Bret Hart today, he will still cry, Ric Flair didn't put me over properly back in 92. Jake the Snake was doing coke in the dressing room in 91. Get over it. Bret Hart is more offended by him losing belts or not getting pushed than Owen falling. Tell me how what I just said is not a fact. He gets more irritated over his booking than his own brother passing away on pay-per-view. Tell me how what I just said is not a fact. If you want to support the channel or donate to the Cash App, it's XDN Wins. This is Bret Hart, and I will eat off his bitter nature forever. Just look at the disdain in Bret Hart. Wait till I get to the El Dandy episode. That's going to be a hell of an episode. When I get to that El Dandy, you just wait for El Dandy. Now, this episode is the quote unquote sabotage that occurred to Bret Hart's career, which I could agree it's sabotage. You know, it seemed like it was. It was definitely, if it wasn't sabotage his run there, it was definitely he was being misused. How do you get Bret Hart, who was the hottest free agent, the hottest wrestler at the time, besides like Sting and Hogan and maybe Steve Austin in November '97? You got the hottest wrestler. No, not even that. He was the hottest wrestler. The screw job just happened. He was WWF champion. He got screwed. Screwed. You had the hottest wrestler in the world, and you just got him in your promotion, and you proceeded 6 months later, 8 months later, he's a mid-carder wearing Hogan's t-shirt. He's the U.S. champion, TV champion, El Dandy champion. I mean, you know, I always like Booker T, but for Bret Hart to be in a mid-card feud with Booker T over like the TV title or whatever title, Bret Hart is not a U.S. champion. Bret Hart is not a TV champion. Bret Hart is a main event world champion, and they made him a mid-carder. But did he deserve it because he talked bad about Hogan? You're gonna, like I said, you're gonna talk bad on me and then come to my company where I'm the top guy and think you're gonna get a push here? No. And you're making this much money? Oh no. And you know, people say Hogan sabotaged him and Hogan got in Bischoff's ear. Maybe that's true, but you have to realize Bret Hart had enemies. Who was Bret Hart's arch nemesis besides Vince McMahon? Shawn Michaels. Bret Hart goes to WCW. Who's in WCW? Who's at the top of WCW in late '97? Who has great political power and influence? Hall and Nash. So you're leaving WWF. We had to fight with Shawn Michaels and his clique just to go to the other half of his clique, and the other half of his clique is top guys, and you have a problem with Hogan, and you think you're going to succeed? The wrestling business is a political industry. Did you not know that? You know what's funny? Shawn Michaels even said that when they were building up the Shawn Michaels I want to say when they were building up the Survivor Series, didn't Shawn Michaels in a promo say, "You're gonna go to WCW and they're, you know, my buddies are gonna rip you apart," or whatever? He said, Shawn Michaels said something like that. It was like he's ribbing on the square. It's like he was prophetic or pathetic, whatever. Sunny days. We all know I had sunny days. Shawn Michaels, your little boy toy, your boy toy. You turn a blind eye to it, your boy toy. My eyes almost went blind when I seen you in that Playgirl boy toy. I wish Stu would have stretched your ass. I would have stretched him, Bret. If I seen Shawn Michaels, I would have stretched him. Hey, Bret, I always like Bruce better than you. I always like Martha better than you. All right, so let's go to the quote unquote sabotage of Bret Hart's bitterness. WCW and Eric Bischoff, 1998. The Momentum Killer. Bret Hart signed with WCW immediately following the Montreal Screwjob. Now, no wrestler in history had more momentum going into a new company than Bret Hart. He was a sympathetic figure by the audience. He'd been screwed. People didn't like Shawn Michaels for real. Bret Hart was, you know, respected as someone who he was there during the down years, the lean years. He helped carry the company as best he could during the down years of 94, 95, 96. And you know, people respected Bret Hart. He'd been in wrestling for a long time by then. He was the definition of a veteran. He rarely missed any shows. He showed up when he was injured, whatever the case. So he had the greatest momentum ever of a free agent in wrestling history. But then that momentum was killed because you have to take advantage of momentum. Eric Bischoff did not do that for whatever reason, whether Hogan influenced him or whether Bischoff was incompetent or whether Bischoff just thought, Bischoff might have thought, Bret Hart is so over, we don't have to push him. He's over. So he's so over, we can make him a mid-carder and he'll have an impact there. But that's not how it works. Wrestling is about perception. If someone's a top guy, you must present them as such. If you present a top guy as a mid-carder, they become just that, a mid-carder. Perception is very important most of the time. Now, we see perception not working because current wrestling, they're trying to push Cody Rhodes as a top guy. Who believes that? So perception sometimes don't work. Cody Rhodes, man, just look how far this business has fallen when Cody Rhodes is like a multiple-time Royal Rumble winner, WrestleMania main eventer, world champion, and he's still not over to anyone who's outside that little bubble who watches on Netflix. Nobody walking the street knows Cody Rhodes. I'd rather watch Van Hammer. The mismanagement of Bret Hart upon his arrival and then thereafter in WCW, President Eric Bischoff had no creative plans for the hottest wrestler in the world, which is what I said. That was probably what it was. Bischoff probably thought, this guy is so over, everyone knows him, we don't have to push him. All we have to do is just book him in matches and give him some interview time, he'll be over. But no, you have to have a plan for everybody in your company. It can't just be this guy's over, because guess what? You didn't do that. Bischoff didn't do that for Hogan. Hogan always had to have a certain storyline, a certain angle. Great. But that type of thinking is what also led to the downfall of WCW. Well, this guy's a star. We don't have to think of ideas. Just have them just walk out and talk. Which a lot of wrestlers said, Nitro's about to go on the air, and the wrestlers don't know what they're doing on the show. And then Bischoff would say, hey, just go out and talk for 10 minutes. About what? Just whatever. Hey, go wrestle for 10 minutes. Versus who? That guy. Okay, what's the finish? Figure it out. This is Eric Bischoff. No wonder the WCW went down the tubes. For many reasons, but that's a big one. How does your leader not have leadership? Have a vision, a plan. That was Eric Bischoff a lot. The disdain. Bret Hart felt buried by WCW management, who often relegated him to meaningless mid-card segments and matches, as well as feuds. The financial regret. Bret Hart, he blamed Eric Bischoff for killing his momentum and wasting his peak athletic years. Now that's where I got to put a pause on this. Bret Hart in 1987, wasn't Bret Hart like 40 years old? Okay, your physical peak as a wrestler is like 25 to like 34, not 40. If you watch Bret Hart's matches in 98, 99, were they better in 98, 99, or were his matches better in 93, 94? So Bret, apparently from what I'm reading from, Bret Hart went on the record and said that in the WCW years, he felt he was at his athletic peak. I don't think anyone who followed Bret Hart's career, I don't think anyone thought, wow, at 99, Bret is at his athletic peak. I don't think anyone thought that. But this is a summary of Bret Hart's time in WCW and his bitterness. Now, could he be right to be bitter? Sure. But he may have set up what happened to him, which then caused him to be bitter, because Bret Hart was outspoken and he walked into a political minefield. So it's kind of what you expect. So his bitterness, he kind of shaped it. What are your thoughts on this? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Check out, the first 2 episodes of this series, Hogan and Flair. The next episode, we may have to go to either El Dandy or Shawn Michaels. With that said, I'm up out of here. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to my other channels, XDN Reacts, my biggest channel. XDN Sports, which is all my older classic wrestling videos. And make sure you follow me on Instagram at XDN Online. I'm up out of here, and that is it. You stinking hyenas.